Hello, Łukasz, Medyczna Marihuana.com. At the moment we are in Warsaw during Cannabis Expo, which is basically expo on hemp and hemp applications. We are happy to talk to Dmytro Isaev, who is a scientist from Ukraine, who also did some research on hemp and CBD in his career. So first of all, Dmytro, please tell me what you're doing here. Yeah, what was your presentation about? Because you're one of the lecturers.
Yeah, my presentation about cannabinoids and neurological diseases. And so I just presented how cannabinoids work and what actually we can expect if we use it as medicine. And I'm here second time. I've been last year, and yeah, I just say people how cannabis could help them.
Where do you find this information? First of all, do you have some experience with cannabis treatment?
Actually, I am a neurophysiologist and I work 15 years with epilepsy. So in my research, I found that in papers, cannabinoids have big promising results in curing epilepsy, and I just wanted to make own experiments. Because I have epilepsy model, I work with animals. I am not a medical doctor, and I found that it's impossible to do in Ukraine, and I should leave a country to make these experiments. I work in Arabian Emirates to make these experiments, for example, and then I'm more involved in this cannabinoid business information. Then I became more and more enthusiastic. If it's began with just curiosity, just how this is kind of like, drug which people use for relax and how it can help, for example, for epilepsy people. And then I found many improvement of that and many research and many, it's kind of like, it's like all hidden a little bit. It's not, if you want, you can find, but it's not like, it's not for general acceptance of this information. So you should choose, you should kind of look for that. And that's more and more I spend time on that research and analysis, and then I'm more enthusiastic about cannabinoid therapy.
All right, so what were the results of your research? What did you notice about CBD or hemp?
So it's not like my research was how cannabinoids affect other receptors, not cannabinoid receptors, because cannabinoids affect other receptors in our organism, so not much selective as CB receptors, but it has additional aims or targets, molecular targets. So I just, for example, studied how is it, for example, THC affects serotonin receptors, and we found it affect. So what it's come on physiological level, we don't know yet, but we know that cannabinoids could affect serotonin receptors, and so we can keep in mind that it's information, scientific information collected, and then when information is big, it's kind of some discovery appears. So we kind of like all ants which brings the pieces to pile,
So what's the evidence? How does it work then?
You see, there are two myths in the world. One myth is kind of like cannabis is narcotics, and other myth is kind of like panacea from everything. And some enthusiastic, people lack knowledge about the action of these chemical compounds. My aim, I think, in my aim to bring people this information is this information will be need growers. People who work in industry or understand, even doctors. I think it's a problem in Poland. We don't have enough doctors experienced in cannabinoid medicine because nobody taught them in university as they do in Ukraine. And now in Ukraine we start to kind of like alert society to, okay, it's not allowed here, but we can prepare doctors for that, and it's legal. So, and we start to involve doctors, and we have medical conference, and in next year we will also have a medical conference in Kiev, and many doctors come, and we tell doctors it's not so bad as it's some disease which could be cured. You see some scientific data how it works. It's kind of like because people afraid because they don't know. If you know something, you don't afraid. You use it or don't use it, but you don't kind of if you say on the street, for example, cannabis, everybody look on you. If you say rose, nobody. It's kind of like it's taboo. So our aim to make it's plant, it's medical plant which we can use, and because it's contain some cannabinoids which we need.
So basically, your research gave some promising results. Good results. But we need more of the research and more of the knowledge to share.
It's like a piece of information, it's like piece of puzzles. You cannot say, for example, you take one piece of puzzle and say how it can help to collect every puzzle. But without this, you cannot make it complete. So we need make more and more research, and actually governments and some foundations should financially support this research. And it's promising because it's cheap and it's promising medicine, yeah.
And what is the best form? What form maybe you work on? Like synthetics, natural, what was it?
In science, we work with synthetic. But this synthetic is a full copy of phytocannabinoids. Why we use synthetic? Because we need research grade purity. When you apply, for example, on neurous tissue or whatever, to be sure this is effect of this compound, not other. So we kind of like take pieces of information from that. But for example, marijuana or hemp or cannabis contain more than 70 cannabinoids, and most of them, totally most of them, we don't know actually properties of that cannabinoids. So it's because few people only in world actually research it. It's not many. Kind of like research on nicotine is 10 times more than cannabinoids just now in world.
All right, so we still need more research.
We need research, we need information, we need to kind of say people truth, say people scientific facts. It's like that. If something bad, you say you don't use it because you do. It's also chemical compound. It's not miracle pill, but it's close to miracle pill.
Yeah. Good to know that. Now you mentioned epilepsy. Yeah, you worked with epilepsy patients or people who suffer?
I'm a scientist. I work with epilepsy models, so I work with rats.
With rats, okay. And what was the result of the research when it comes to epilepsy and rats?
Yeah, epilepsy is a common disease for almost any animal. So it's and it's easy to study epilepsy on other on animals, for rats in my case. So and it show kind of like it helps, it helps rats. So it should help us. And then people use on people, and it helps on people, And it's kind of like it's easy. So you do model, and if helps animals. You kind of propose people who has pharma-resistant epilepsy, and they try and they help. So it's a good medical medication. Medication can appear only after scientific research, because doctors, it's like constructor of airplane and driving airplane. So it's like scientists and medical doctors.
All right, so it definitely helps with epilepsy, in many aspects, I suppose. I mean, does it reduce seizures? Does it cure totally the disease?
We don't have any drug which can cure epilepsy at all. Sometimes it just disappears, but we don't know why. But in some form of epilepsy, it's the only drug which it's cannabinoids.
Okay. And what other diseases do you know of where there's evidence that hemp or cannabis is really helpful?
Epilepsy, sleep disorders, Parkinson, big promising in Alzheimer's disease. In Alzheimer's disease became more more and more expensive because people live longer and longer. And
actually, could you tell us like a sentence or two about each disease, how it actually helps?
So in epilepsy, it's reduced amount of seizures, so it's make people live better. In Parkinson, people has tremor of hands and some other conditions, and it helps them to increase quality of life. It's enough people. It's not help for everybody, but it helps many people. Even if it's helps somebody, it should use it. And for example, Alzheimer, it's people became slow thinking, old people slow thinking, and kind of like not very smart. And what appears in mice and in rats and in human, THC makes them more smart, more. It's kind of like disappears. It's so kind of like the signs of Alzheimer's disease. And sleeping disorders, it's too many sleeping disorders, it's whole list of that. And actually it's kind of like, it's not a really funny thing, because sleep disorders could bring people to suicide and other very serious conditions. And cannabinoids used for sleep disorders kind of several thousand years. And now we support that information which bring us, these old papers for Indian and Chinese papers, which when they describe that it's kind of good for sleep, and really it work on all animal models and on people, yeah. And many kind of like cancer disease, many autoimmune disease like Crohn's disease. It's autoimmune. For immune system, we don't know too much, but we definitely statistically know when it helps. And it helps. It's, I mean, it's like 20-30 disease. We can definitely say it's promising drug for cure the diseases.
Yeah, I think you also mentioned multisclerosis.
Multisclerosis, it's a combined disease between neurosystem and immune system. So immune system attack your nervous system. That is a problem, and people, it's kind of like damage neurons and damage signal transferring. And cannabinoids help to stop immune system to attack your neurons.
All right, probably you could tell us more about other diseases, but I'm sure that our viewers can find the information.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Just now it's kind of wave. It's a renaissance of cannabis. Many years ago, everybody used cannabis for medicinal use, for technical use, and then kind of like dark years. And now we have renaissance, and I am glad to be in Poland on second one. I'm proud for Poland people. They kind of like they struggle and they got this ability to. At least put a government view on this problem. So, and I'm proud that I'm glad about Poland and Poland people. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, one thing more, because you are a scientist, so maybe tell me more about this process. Yeah, how does it work actually? Why does cannabis have this effect on human body or rats?
We have own receptors. We have receptors, and we have own cannabinoids inside us, and they work like just any synaptic system. And because it's forbidden, we didn't actually learn it, we didn't study it, and for us it's kind of like enigma, miracle. But because we don't know actually, then we more research that, we more understand that. Definitely cannabinoids works through cannabinoid receptors. It's most a powerful influence. Cannabinoid receptors, it's receptors you can to feel what actually do endocannabinoids when you run a lot and sit to rest, and you feel that kind of like some kind of warming feeling, good one. It's because cannabinoids. That is cannabinoid works. That is your cannabinoids works inside you. So that cannabinoids which you produce, and actually mother milk has a lot of endocannabinoids. That's why children eat much and sleep much.
All right. Do we know where it comes from? What's the origin of this endocannabinoid system?
They found part of endocannabinoids even in the mushrooms. So it's evolutionary too. It's a very old system. So it's kind of, we got it from evolution system. It has animals, and because if we block cannabinoid receptors, we will feel bad. We are not able to manipulate our, plasticity of nervous system decrease. It's kind of like it's a needed system to live. In evolution, there is nothing just for fun. It's if we have these receptors, that we need these receptors, and kind of it's make us better. But in this world, we live longer, and we live in more stressful life. So it's kind of like when you wake up until you lay down. So everything is stress. You should pay bills. You should care children. You should go work. I don't know, some problems there, and you all time think about what happened, what will happen. You never think about what is going on now. And it's because you're emotionally involved. Cannabinoids kind of help us more be rational, more be Homo sapiens during stress. More because Homo sapiens, it's animal who can think and not just feel. And with that, with cannabinoids, some people can relieve the stress and actually live a long and happier life.
Yeah, well, hopefully we all will live long and happy lives, thanks to cannabinoids as well. Yeah. So yes, thank you very much for your time, for your knowledge. Is there anything you would like to, any message you would like to give to Polish patients in the end?
I want to say that they should be aware, and they should know what they take and why they take this, and what is actually not believed, or somebody just proves this. Ask doctors, go to research sites or medical sites or sites who actually give this information, and research what is actually better for them. It's only knowledge can help us to I don't know. Only knowledge help to avoid this ignorance and fear and this everything like that, and panic and stress.
Yeah. So gain the knowledge. Make sure you know what you're doing, what you're taking, and why. Yeah. And thank you very much.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah.